What is up with it? Welcome to this week's episode of Waiting for Game, the premier Melee podcast to not feature any top 100 player, past or present, or any large commentator. Now, we have quite a discussion this week. Seriously, one of the best weeks of Melee that we've seen in such a long time, and I'm so excited to talk about it. I am your host, Gimme That Wheat, resident tournament seeder, top 100 organizing the top 100. I'm not a top 100 list on the list of organizers. And with me is my co-host on the ones and twos, Edwin Budding, probably the best author in all of Melee, with the book of Melee under his belt.
There's a lot of competition for that, but definitely for
you just take the compliment.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I'm the best. There's no one else.
And I am.
There's
so
eventually going to be
thrilled.
Mewtwo. You realize that you're gonna have to be competing with Mewtwo King himself.
Very true. Whenever it comes out.
Whenever it comes out, yeah. Lord knows that book has been hyped up.
I'm waiting for the Puff
I'm ready for
manifesto, the Puff and Icy's manifesto, as well as the 2006 and 2007 Melee chapters.
Yeah,
We're gonna see a lot. It's gonna be a tome. And speaking of tomes, we have probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the scene that you might see weekly on commentary.
I did
We've got
win Melee Jeopardy against Tafkins.
The winner of Melee Jeopardy versus Tafkins. We've got Toph. What is up, Toph?
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I know that you're coming off of a whole day of Melee podcasting, so I appreciate the grind here to come in and join us.
Somehow Tuesdays turned into my podcast day. I don't know what it is. I turned into a podcast guy on Tuesdays, and then I'm obviously going to be streaming after this pretty much all night. Didn't stream all weekend, so got to make up the hours somehow, But yeah, it was a super fun weekend, dude. I mean, what a tournament to drive to. What a tournament to be in attendance for. Because obviously I wasn't at Summit Champions League weeks 1 and 2. This was like the week. I mean, Blur put that poll out. He was like, is anyone going to take one of these things from Manga or Zane? And 95% plus of people said no.
It all goes back to Blur.
And we're immediately proven wrong. It does all go back to Blur.
Blur can make any statement, and if he's right, it's because he made the statement and he's been right the entire time. And if he's wrong, it's because people
was doing a thing.
Yeah, or they proved him wrong.
He was right.
The world revolves
There's always
around Blur.
some justification. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
No, but you are right. This is what an amazing week of Melee. On the last week's Waiting for Game podcast, I talked a big game about week 3 of SCL, and I gotta admit, the dirty secret in podcasting and probably in commentary too is that in the moment you got to make everything exciting. But when it really gets down to it, is every single set exciting? No, not really. But you got to act like it. And
which sets weren't exciting?
Well, I'm saying that I hyped up SCL week 3 so much, and then afterwards I thought to myself, did it really deserve that much? Week 2 we had that week off, then week 2 was fine, and I was like, well, I'm hyping up week 3 to be something that probably can't live up to, and boy was I wrong. Immediately out of the gates,
yeah.
Not only was SCL amazing, but Levo, like we were set up for an entire weekend. And so we're going to talk about Polish because I am unable to talk about Polish if he did well. Dude, what an amazing player. So we're going to get into him because he's obviously one of the big stories of Levo. But what did you guys think of Levo? Do you have any takeaways or any players that we saw that really, interested you?
Yeah, I thought that Polish for sure. I mean, he's definitely a player. He was obviously the standout just because, he hasn't been super duper active. Also just in general, who got 3rd and 4th?
So 3rd was None. And 4th, oh dude, you're putting me on the
Kadoran got
double
5th.
eliminated by
5th.
He got double eliminated by Polish actually.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. Well, I mean, I don't know anything about Kadoran's beach game.
He struggled with Aura earlier in the year, and I don't think it's one of his. I don't think it's one of his better matchups. At least, take it for what it's worth. I am technically a student and patron of Fedorans, so I say this with all the love in the world.
Just results-wise, right? You're just speaking what you see is what you get.
But I also think Fedoran, just like his approach to the game is very like holding a strong position and playing that position reactively and patiently and like basing it around like Marth's tools in certain positions, right? I think the main thing I noticed, for whatever it's worth, in his, if you watch his sets against Polish or Kalamazoo from earlier this year, you'll notice that he always sets himself up in like a good Marth spot. But I think Polish and Kalamazoo, like when they're in those positions, those are kind of like auto like peach killer positions, but like they keep winning the same mix-ups against him, and I think they're also just like very fast, which I don't think he's quite used to.
Dude, can I tell you who I was proud of this weekend? Whatever they personally think of their performance, I was happy to see my boy Gio, aka Null, finally enter a net play tournament and do not bad. I mean, I don't know what
to it.
I don't know what to say about. I think he got 9th. I think he could do better. Honestly, I think he could top 8 for sure. So I'm not going to say,
he squeaked into top 8. I think he got 7th.
Did he? He squeaked in? You'd love to see a squeaker.
Squeaked in with a bit of a squeaker versus Fedoran.
Yeah, did he squeak past Fedoran, or did Fedoran
he squeaked short?
I think he was up. He was up 2-1 and up. Was it 2-1 on FD in stocks or something like that? Maybe it was. I remember.
So. I was driving at the time. I was driving to SoCal. I saw a tweet when I arrived to SoCal, something about being the best player to ever touch the sticks ever for a 3-minute window. Was that Null versus Fedoran? Do you guys know specifically what he was talking about?
I believe he was talking about. I believe if you heard a statement like that, it may have been in reference to Null reverse 3-0ing Chudat, which was another notable result in his long run to 7th. He also beat Bobby Big Balls at the same time.
Who?
Null.
No. Chudat?
Yeah, Null reverse 3-0 Chudat.
Chudat entered? Levo?
Chudat got 9th.
Yeah, he beat Chudat beat Slug also.
He did? Okay.
Chudat still exists. Believe it or not.
I'm happy. I mean, I assumed he did. I assumed he existed. I didn't think he didn't exist. But wow, okay, that's exciting. Yeah, I did get to see a lot of Evo because I was literally on the road.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because before the tournament, when I heard that Chu was going to enter, I just assumed he would get like 65th, right?
Immediate thought, yeah.
No
shade.
Can you really ever write Chudat out though? I remember back in 2017 when Chu was starting to come back in 2016 or 17.
Yeah,
and I was like, Chu's gonna get watched, man. He's kind of rusty, blah blah blah. And then you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's never that bad.
So like I think what you're saying definitely makes sense, and I've heard the same thing from my good friend Pikachu942, a fellow Smash historian, and her theory about Chu is just that he will never be fully bad. Chu will have hot streaks, he will have cold streaks, but he will just always somehow remain relevant in the metagame.
Chu exists to just like ruin side bets. That's Chu's whole existence.
Yeah, you never really know with Chu, but Null got him.
No, yeah, reverse 3-0. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, so Chu's tournament right before this, if we're excluding Gerudo Kings or whatever, it was all the way, I think it was an SCL qualifier last year, and he got 65th, losing to Komodo and Salt.
Was that the infamous pound
well, those are two
rest?
Good players.
Was that the pound rest one against Komodo?
Yeah, that was it.
You're saying Komodo, Puff, and Salt Falcon?
Salt is a pretty whatever, right? But I believe Falcon, yeah. Probably went Falcon versus Ices.
That sounds right. I mean, those sound like tough matchups for Chu, I guess. Who did Chu beat? I guess maybe that's the better question. Who did he beat?
He beat Slug.
He beat nearly H-Box Slayer Slug, and he beat actual H-Box Slayer Elliot.
He beat Elliot.
Game 5, yeah.
Oh. All right.
All the Foibo practice in the world.
Elliot, we got to talk. Elliot, if you're watching, we got to talk.
Elliot, if you're watching, it's past your bedtime.
I think it's literally 6 p.m.
He's a growing boy. He's got to get his rest.
You're right.
Speaking of
Also,
Grunwald,
it's Canada. Canada's like further north. Maybe there's like north time zones now. I don't know. Maybe it's like later there because it's more north.
it's probably already dark.
It's probably dark, yeah, because of the
Actually,
sun system.
it might be more light. How do hemispheres work? We'll figure that out on another podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Null is a wonderful pick here. There's a couple players who we saw who I have been wanting to see enter stuff for a while, and it's doesn't affect my opinion on anyone negatively. I will say, Face Roll and Fat Goku did not have their best performances.
Dude,
but
Face Roll entered?
Yeah, he lost to Null in winners also.
He
Null's list.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think Face Roll, the second he wants to start entering LAN events or whatever, whenever that's possible, I expect him to be fully back. I do think Nola's scary. Dude, he had to reverse 3-0 Poppy. Definitely scary people for him.
Poppy Falco?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Fox, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You're right. Actually, yeah, wait.
Poppy has this weird thing where I've definitely seen him go Fox and Falco versus Sheik in the same set. Like, go down 2 games versus Sheik as Fox, and then go Falco, win the whole thing.
I don't have a good
do the exact opposite. Like, I don't know.
I don't have a good handle on when he decides to pick Fox or Falco.
Dude, Salt, Poppy, there's something about Texas. I swear they're like rolling a die to figure out who they have to go.
I just learned that they're from Texas. I knew these players from seeing their names in brackets. I don't know what their faces look like. If I saw them at an event, I wouldn't know who they are.
Yeah, man.
Which is dangerous, right? You don't know. You might have to play somebody like that, and you don't know what they look like, and you're getting schmooved on. So I need to learn what they look like. Yeah.
I think Poppy should walk up to anyone and money match them.
Money match them, yeah. Agreed. Salt as well. I'm glad I know what Ben looks like now. I'm really happy that thanks to the magic of SCL player cams, I know what Ben looks like.
Ben looks exactly like I thought he would, and no shade to Ben. He's literal. I think he's an adult legally now, but
wow.
I don't think I could pick him out in a crowd. If we're at whatever Riptide or whatever, and a crowd of a bunch of people in Ohio, I'm not sure if I'm, if I'm the pool.
He'd be wearing his esports jersey.
True.
So you got to look for the esports jersey.
True.
Yeah.
Got to keep the eyes out.
Yeah. That's right.
I will say it's nice seeing someone like Null who hasn't been too active on net play come and still do well, because I think there's a tendency to sometimes forget in the scene that like just because someone's not actively competing on net play doesn't mean they like suddenly became bad. Like we've had too many of these net play grinders are coming up, thinking they're hot shit, and in the back of my mind, I always wonder, like, how would this person do against Null, or how would this person do against Jake and Shaken, or like these this is not to say that they're bad, that these net play grinders.
What
happened
are bad to players. Him? What happened to Jake and Shaken?
I don't know, man.
I think he did like pound online, and then that was it. That was the last we saw of him.
What happened?
Maybe it's like a bad computer. Like rollback makes your connection feel really good, but if you have like a shit computer, it can actually suck. So I feel like there's some people that just might have a really bad computer and they don't want to play net play.
Well, with Jake and Shaken, it's ironic that he hasn't been too active, because he made his name in Ohio before he got really good as like the net play guy. Like he didn't go to he didn't go to locals very often. He wasn't active.
Confusing.
He wasn't active in Northeast Ohio. He didn't like travel over to Cincinnati or anything.
Right.
He just played net play and Smash Ladder a lot. So you would think, given his origins, that Jake and Chicken would be a lot more active. But
fascinating. Yeah, you never know. You never know. I'm sure a lot of these people will crop back up again once offline. There's a lot of people that play a lot of friendlies. I will say there are a lot of people that play a lot of friendlies and just don't play that much tournament.
I believe that.
I ran into Lord on ranked earlier. We're playing teams.
He's still playing on keyboard or a variety of characters, or
thanks. He's playing all Falcon, but keyboard, I think. Yeah. So there's plenty of people that just Null would be one of those, right? Null plays a ton of online, plays with Mango 2-3 times a week. He just doesn't really enter tournaments. I think towards the start of the COVID era, he was entering, and then he kind of was like, "Yeah, I'm getting upset by this lag stuff. I don't want to have to think about it." I think a lot of people probably came out of the woodwork this past weekend because of the promise of Summit or the allure of Summit. So there is that. But Yeah, hoping to see a lot of these players back. When Noah was even talking about this, he was saying, before online, he was the guy that drove to every single SoCal event. So he thinks it's funny that people are sort of categorizing him as the dude that doesn't enter these days. Because back in offline, he entered everything in SoCal.
You know who I want to see come back? Speaking of SoCal, I want to see Nut come back. That was a guy that that was a guy I loved seeing his rise. I think he could still take a lot of names.
Yeah, and he was a big online player too, actually. I used to run into him on Smash Ladder, so I do wonder what's up with him.
Yeah, I mean, I have to wonder, like you said, there's a lot of people who are playing friendlies, if anything. Yeah. We talked about it last week. We had Pipsqueak on. We talked about how Prissant is like a friendlies online monster, but just like hasn't entered anything.
Is he? Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like I find it hard to discount all these people who are talking about Null, Nut, Franz. I know some of these people don't have. I think I heard Franz doesn't have like the best setup, so isn't able to enter.
Is that why? Yeah. But, Luigi Kid was going to get back into Melee, and then COVID happened. I actually got to play him in he entered like 1 or 2 online tournaments. I ran into him in an online tournament, and then we chatted for a bit after it. And he was saying that, he was looking to even get back into Melee in like 2019, 2020, right up until COVID happened, and now he's kind of putting it off, Yeah,
I mean, if we're talking about people with like rises that were amazing to watch, what was that, 2017? 2016 maybe? Yeah, that was, I mean, he was one of those people, top 100 if everything worked out right. But I'm excited to see him come back.
Yeah, just keep the tier list away from him. That's it.
Yeah, dude, I never want to see that again. It's like he thinks Peach Luigi's like 80-20 in Luigi's favor or something like that. I mean, if that's what you need to do well,
to believe.
Sure. Yeah.
Some people need to believe. It's like Ginger, right? That's Ginger's Falco thing. Like some people need to complain about their character for whatever reason. But I think
the thing is, sorry to cut you off. I think Luigi Kid thinks Luigi's like 4th or 5th. It's
wow.
It's like so far above what is sane, but it's not like the people who are like, I play the best character. Why wouldn't I play this character? They're the best. It's still like acknowledging that there are better characters.
That is
they just having an insane placement.
Yeah, that is a colossal amount of yeah, agreed.
Whatever you want to call it.
Belief.
It's something.
Delusion, whatever it is. Yeah, that is 5th? Wow.
This was in like 2016. So benefit of the doubt, maybe I'll say that in 5 years you can change your opinion on Melee. But if anyone, if Luigi Kid, if you're watching, let's get a new tier list. You might get flamed on Twitter, but that's the name of the game.
So just
again, you got to do what you got to do.
So just to shift gears for a second, so we were talking about Polish a little earlier, and something I wanted to mention with him is that while he hasn't been too active on net play, I will say earlier in the year he had a couple really standout performances. I remember he won an Untitled, or yeah, I think it was an Untitled over Ben. He had actually beaten Magi. He had double eliminated Bobby Big Balls, and a set that holds up really well if you're talking about resumes for the year. He actually beat Gatsu in earlier this year.
Yeah, I think it was like October and November. He got kind of schmixed by Gatsu. I think it was like 3-0. Those FD counter picks, it was fine when he got a grab, but was looking really hard. And then, next time they played, I wish I remember what tournament it was, but it was like January or so. Yeah, he like 3-1'd him. And we saw something kind of similar, right? We saw None just kind of moving on him. And then the set that they had in Losers, there was adaptation. I don't know if None was playing worse or anything. Obviously, that's something you have to account for. But, dude, on Polish's side, what a joy to watch. He played that so well. He played it so smart. Credit where credit is due.
What did it look like? Because I didn't get to see that set again. I was driving. Like, what was the vibe?
Edwin, so I don't know if you saw this, but I might veer into like fanboyism because I love Polish so much.
But down it's just for Polish fanboyism.
It's amazing to see. Like we know these levels of peaches, right? Each peach has their own thing. Other than Armada, whose thing was just being like Superman.
Correct.
But you have like Nico, like Ryopete, who's like you have to slapdash all the time, and you got to like double jump, land, down smash out of shield.
That is slapdash. I've heard about it. That's the fair. You land on the platform in a funny way, and you can move real quick.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, if you double jump fair, it doesn't come out at all, cancels, and you can do whatever you want. And then you get like Triff, who has really good movement, but it's just like a soul read player. You know, you watch him versus Fox, and it just looks like if you're a Peach who's trying to learn Fox, you can't learn anything because it's just that's Triff versus.
I feel
Fox.
like Triff is one of those guys who's just like I feel like his Pip kind of went into this last week, but Triff's baseline is so high where even if you're just like a little bit behind, he's just always going to beat you. Like you have to fundamentally change how you have to get your way of seeing the game like up to a certain point before you can even think of taking sets off Triff. Like his baseline is so absurdly good. Lot is kind of similar, but I think Triff is a little like I think they play like pretty different.
Triff strikes me.
I think Triff's. I was going to say Triff's floaty game is also fun. I think Triff looks his best against like Marths and other Peaches and characters like that. I think he looks phenomenal against. Kind of like I mean I don't know. I'd say all the Peaches have been stepping up those sorts of matchups. You look at like Lot H-Box, but like, dude, you remember Triff took a set off of Zane at like a recent summit, right? Like Summit 9, I think it was. Like that was 8 maybe,
8, right?
8, yeah, 8, yeah. But still, you know, like Zane was already, yeah. And I mean, I think we haven't seen a ton of him lately, but he always struck me as like, if you wanted to learn a lot of like kind of situational stuff, like you should watch a ton of Triff videos because he's always like he posts those clips of him like he'll like be edge guarding a Peach for like 30 seconds and he'll do like 3 things I haven't really seen, like just kind of decision making wise, and I'm like that was really clean. I'm like consistently thinking that when I watch Triff.
Yeah. So if you took like those kind of 2 dipoles of Peach, I think Polish is somewhere in the middle. If you watched Bananas versus Michael, that is a word used in the video, written by Ambi Sinister. But yeah, I mean, like he kind of meets them in the middle, I think, because he is very fast, very fast, very technical. But like I don't know the way that he plays it, he's very aggressive. Yeah, and you can tell that it's like tech that's used when it's necessary. Not to this is no shade to anyone else. I'm not saying that Nico uses tech when it's unnecessary, or whatever. But it's like very situational awareness. You know, it's great. You know,
Rocketbeat's looking for ways to squeeze it in. He's like looking for new opportunities to do Peach tech skill. Polish it's a little bit more like, you know,
yeah.
You're looking at like a Leffen versus a Hax. Hax is always trying to push all the buttons. Leffen can push the buttons, but he's not always trying to push the buttons.
Yeah, Leffen can do every single thing in the game, I swear.
Right.
And if he doesn't know it, he can learn it in a week. But you don't see him bust it out when it's not necessary.
All the time. Right.
And I don't know, like Polish is just such a fast Peach. He's aggressive, and he's down to clown if you want to camp him, as we learned in the Keizu set. Like oh my god, what a player!
It's all those sets against Michael. It's all those sets against Michael prepared him.
Yeah, how many times has he made a tweet like, do you know how many times I've beaten Michael? I don't. How many times has he beaten Michael? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know the exact number, but he's beaten him multiple times.
Yeah. This was I think this was like the sad era, the forgotten year, as I call it in my PG Stats article. Because I think this was late 2019, early 2020 when Michael was in PGH. And they would just have these like man on a ledges where they'd have like, dude, I don't even know how long those sets were, but if they played 2 sets of grands, definitely, or 2 sets,
that sounds like a
grands,
long time.
3 sets, dude, that's definitely, we're going to like 80 minutes or something.
So here's my question, right? Here's my question. Like, why did Peach Puff used to get, because everyone says now, like even all the Peaches, they're like, oh yeah, Peach Puff was never that bad. Like, hello, like, don't you guys realize Peach Puff was literally never that bad? It's just, you just had to slapdash, you know, wave, whatever. Like, all the Peaches now, it sounds like, are all like, no, yeah, Peach can totally do it. You know, what? But back then, I feel like every Peach complained nonstop. Keizu used to literally tell him, you know, it cannot be done. The matchup is completely impossible. And then Keizu himself took H-Box online to Game 5 last stock. So I'm kind of like, when did that narrative change? Did something happen that changed? Like, I almost want to just talk to a Peach player and like kind of get their perspective on what the hell happened.
Did Armada quit? Is that it?
Maybe. I mean, Lord knows the Melee scene, we value top player opinions so highly, right? One person can say one thing and it just shifts the entire collective conscious. Look, I always said back in the day when Armada first switched to Youngling, I thought, dude, he did fine. If you guys remember the last set he played Peach versus Puff against HBox, he did fine. Except he got up tilt rested once a game. He got 3-0'd and it was mostly close, or if anything, Armada winning neutral. But once one stock per game at a low percent, HBox would empty land in front of his shield and do an up tilt, and it would hit because Armada would drop a shield and he'd rest him. It literally happened once a game. And I was like, okay, well, just don't let your shield down. What are you worried about? Is he's going to grab you? Like, just take the throw. It's the Street Fighter 5. Take the throw. Who cares if Puff grabs you? You're Peach. You're not getting throw combo. So don't let your shield down when he empty lands, and you're going to be fine. And then instead he switched to Youngling, which I think worked out for him as well. And obviously I think the Fox did great. But I remember even back then thinking, like, this doesn't seem that bad. He's complaining a lot, but, like, I don't know. I watched the set, and it seemed fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it like the new Peach mentality of like did all this miscellaneous tech is like necessary to the game, right? I definitely think that there are a lot of very technical Peach players, like very new Peach players, who are trying to like be like, no, the reason why like you can do this now is you just have to, you slap dash, you double jump,
whatever. Yeah.
Well, I also think it's the field as well, right? Like I think when Armada was playing, like he couldn't he didn't have a resource like Slippy where he could play against, like a Puff even remotely close to someone like Hungrybox's caliber. Whereas I think nowadays we just have so many more resources.
So easy, yeah. Very easy to get practice. Yeah. Yeah, Armada would have that's what Mango always says. It's like, dude, why isn't Armada playing, at least streaming the game? Because it's like, this is everything he ever wanted. This is everything I was complaining about.
Toph, that's a good question. I've always wondered, and Wheat can attest that every now and then, like maybe once every few months, I'll send him a long paragraph that's like, I miss Armada. Like Armada would
we will DM about it won't be the purpose to talk about every single player that Armada would beat right now, but it ends up being that. And both of us,
you and who?
Me and Edwin.
We
just DM each other to say,
all right, who wins, Null or Armada?
Oh my god, dude! I'm saying that Armada only loses to like Zane right now. Like you don't know how.
What about Gio?
He loses to Zane and Null.
Yeah, Zane and Null.
Okay,
just those two.
I can accept Zane and Null. I can accept Zane and Null. The
two dipoles, if you will.
The two dipoles. Yeah, that's their math rock band name.
Well, Wheat, was there anything? Was there anything outside of the obvious at SCL that you wanted to point out?
Are you talking about Levo or are you talking about SCL? Because SCL has a ton of stuff that we could go into.
SCL.
I mean, obviously we have to get to the obvious, right?
Which is that Wizro beat Mango and immediately did the Donkey Kong taunt into his camera.
he has a way of popping off. He has a very particular way of popping off.
When he popped off against Zayd, he did this kind of hand motion. He went like this. He went like... It was like a dark power, like there was dark fire coming out of his hands. I realized that
like
Wizro,
a lion.
Yeah, or like right because he does the roar kind of thing. I feel like Wizrobe does this thing. His pop offs are like anime pop offs. He pops off like when he did Smash and Splash, and he did the like a wild beast unleashing like the wolf mode or something. And it's like he pops off like I love it. I don't know, but it's very unique. It's very, very unique.
So there is a wonderful picture from one of the professional photographers at Smash and Splash 5. And it's a picture of like HBox is mainly the one. It's like as he's walking off, and you can see Wizzy popping off in the background. And even further in the background, you see the projector of Wizzy popping off. And the angle of it is like must be distorted or something because, it's a flat thing you're taking at an angle. It looks like one of those in-between frames in cartoons. Dude, Wizzy is just his limbs feel like they're too long. His body feels like it's like weirdly. It is such a wonderful picture of his little pop off.
It's like some of those like weird animations in Melee where if you look at them from the wrong angle, like they're like a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Doc's Fair or something like that, and he's got
something
the
like
hand.
that. Yeah.
It doesn't look like it should exist, but I got to dig that picture up at some point.
Wow.
But yeah, the obvious. Yes, let's before we get to the obvious, I want to talk about non-Wizzy sets.
Okay.
What was your favorite set of the tournament? Because I think there were so many contenders for best set of the tournament.
That wasn't a Wizzy set.
That wasn't a Wizzy set. We'll get into it. If it was a Wizzy set, you can say that and then say your non-Wizzy set.
I actually really liked what the hell was that set? No. SFAT versus Albert.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a fun set. I liked SFAT versus Albert. Magi Call Ball was the hype one for sure. Call Ball has a way of having these crazy sets that go to game 5. I feel like playing Call Ball must be terrifying because it always feels like you should be beating him by more, and then he like shine spikes you, and you're like, shit, it's even again. And that kept happening with Magi Call Ball. Especially game 5. SFAT Albert I liked a lot. What else was good? Obviously all the Wizzy sets were good. I was God, what was there was one or two. Moki Ben, right? I love how Moki played against Ben. Moki Ben was a really cool set. Just to get to see Moki kind of play really well. And, Leffen was kind of saying, something Moki's been even admitting himself was that, like, he's like a slow starter in sets. Like, he'll, like, kind of go down 0-2 and then he has to bring it back 3-0. And Moki was just kind of playing like he was on fire from the very beginning. And I think Ben was playing pretty good too, but Moki kind of edged him out. That was a fun set, I thought, to start the day off of. But, I mean, yeah, I think Wizzy definitely stole the show. Just kind of the way it worked,
Especially because both the sets that he had to win to take the tournament were so exciting, right? They came down to last stock moments. Even I remembered Magi Cobalt, but I was struggling to think of other sets just because Wizard Mango and Wizard Zane were such instant classics, I think.
See, I think the best kind of, upset tournament victory like that, someone like Wizzy wins the tournament. I think the best those are the coolest when they have to beat all the people that could have won the tournament. Yeah. Like, so I guess the counter example, something like, maybe Zane wins a tournament, but he didn't have to fight Axe. Well, okay, these days it's expected that Zane wins a tournament.
Or do you remember, like, Shine 2016, where Mucha King won, and he had to just, like, beat SFAT?
You beat SFAT in Swedish.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Mango and H-Box were both out by the time Grand Finals was around. Right. Definitely felt like one of those things where, yeah, okay, you won the tournament, but, sure. No one's taking it away from you. No, you're exactly right. This is one.
Wizzy beat everyone.
Wizzy beat every single person. And, dude, Mango.
Well, two of them.
All two. Well, that's what it is, right?
Yeah, I want to mention with those two in particular. So I took a look at all the different majors in Melee history, like over the last decade and even before that. And I was actually shocked to find out that Mango and Zane traded tournaments from each other, with one of those two winning every event that they entered together. They had 10 events in a row that they both entered, like fully competed in, where one of them won. And that was the longest streak in Melee history. It was longer than
where two people have...
Yeah, where they both entered the same event. It was longer than even Hungrybox Armada, which stunned me, because I just took it for granted that Mango and Zane were ahead of everyone else. But I didn't realize how thorough it was, and the fact that Wizzy had to beat both of them in the row, like no one else has done that in rollback, right? It's a first.
It is a first. How many tournaments did HBox and Armada do that?
9. It got snapped at Gommel by Leffen.
Sure. Right. Well, okay. So, I mean, yeah, to put an asterisk on this, who knows if this statistic would be like, something tells me that if Leffen was able to compete at all the same events.
Yeah, of course.
Leffen would probably get one or two, like just kind of, but that it is insane. It is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And of all the people to end the streak, wow, was he?
The crazy thing is, so SCL has been so amazing to us, right? Both last year and this year. And as I'm watching it, like it's round 1 of Division 1, and I'm just thinking to myself, we are kind of setting up again for Mango Zane. That's like what the entire narrative was, right? That there's two like magnets that are just like attracting to each other, and no one can get in the way to stop them. And I'm thinking to myself,
Yes,
Melee's really, I really like Melee right now. I don't think I go through phases where I don't like it, but Melee's a great spot. And I'm just thinking, well, it's great, but is this all it is? Is it going to be Mango and Zane every single time? And if we get back to LAN, is it still going to be Mango and Zane, and then maybe it's sprinkle in a Leffen or an H-Box or what have you?
yeah.
Now, and I was just kind of getting not disappointed, but a little wistful at like how the field isn't open, and completely wrong.
Completely wrong. Well,
Literally
let me
2 hours
throw
later.
This out. Let me throw this out. I think that Zane was remarking on, it might have been Radio Melee. It might have been. I was talking to him on some stream, and he was saying that he felt like for him right now, the matchup he really needs to work on, where he can kind of lose to anybody, is Falcon. I mean, he dropped a set to Johnny quite recently, right? He dropped a set to Johnny quite recently, like I think a little over a month ago at this point. At something, it might have been Galint Melee Open.
Is that 4 Loco Fight Night?
Yeah,
was that?
Or Loco, it was one of those.
And then before that was
Okay.
LACS 3.
And so, right. And then Zane was saying that for Mango, that character, he feels like for Mango, the equivalent character that Mango can kind of lose to is Sheik. And it just so happens that all of the Sheiks are kind of not liking net play, and they all just want to wait until offline. Like you look at Spark, you look at Face Roll, these are people that we know can beat Mango. Maybe even Swedish, seems like Swedish is always kind of like semi-active. Like I think he's still doing med school stuff or residency or whatever, but actually I think his residency might have ended recently. But anyway, Zane was saying he feels like the character Mango can kind of lose to randomly is Sheik, and Mango hasn't really been tested at that matchup a lot lately. Now, next week, round 1 of the bracket, SCL week 4, I'm sure you guys saw Mango has Plup. What do you guys think about that?
Well, we'll get into that after the stock exchange, just when we preview the event. But I do think you bring up an interesting topic of discussion, which is Plup. Right? I think if we look at his resume, like for what little he's entered, it just about checks out. I think the only thing that really stands out as like surprising is just that one loss to Kodorin, right? Like everything else.
Yeah, that's the only thing that.
Yeah, he beat Gatsu. He beat all these good players. Like cumulatively, he looks like a top 10 player. He looks better than he did last December. Now that he's playing
For
Sheik.
sure. Yeah.
And I will add that I think this is, objectively speaking, this should be a great era for Plup, because we know Plup can beat Mango. We know Plup can beat Zane. He's got Sheik. He's got the best Sheik. He's got a solid Marth matchup. He's never looked shaky at that matchup except for Kodorin. Was like the one time, right? So, if I'm a Plup fan, I'm thinking like, Plup is entering stuff again. He hasn't really gotten, because he had to fight through open bracket in Division 2. He hasn't had that many shots at the top, 2. But I mean, if I'm being objective, I think Plup can totally, this is a great era for him. I mean, for all of his complaints about, having to fight H-Box's Jigglypuff and how he was finding Ultimate more fun at tournaments because Puff was stressing him out. That's not really a concern anymore, right? Like now it's Mango Zane, and he likes those.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, Plup is one of those few players that we have that I think could beat anyone. We have players who are so good, top 10. In North America, maybe could break into top 5, but I would have trouble saying that. Yeah, as good as I think S2J is, I would have trouble saying that I think he can beat every single player in North America. But Plup, no, I feel that way exactly. Yeah, I don't think that there's a player who he can't beat. His issue more so is that we've seen a lot of times for players who maybe wouldn't pose a huge threat to that top echelon, to the Mango Zane tier, can be scary for him. He lost to SFAT before. I think he got like 3-0'd by SFAT. He lost to Magi at in Summit pools for Summit 10 online.
Well, he was playing Fox, right?
He's playing Fox. I mean, that's part of it, right?
Weird Fox mode. That was part of it.
Yeah. So, but you're right. Give him Zane. Give him Mango.
Give him the Falcons. Give him the Falcons.
I think the one guy, right? The Falcons. That's a good. He's amazing versus Falcon, and there are a ton of Falcons in the top 10. I feel like the only guy that I would potentially be worried about is Cody. Like IBDW kind of seems to have his number, but even those sets at SCL 1, they didn't look bad at all by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of them were 3-1. A lot of them, those games were last stock. You don't look at those and feel like he can't do it. So for me, I don't know. I think Plup, like, if he like wants to start, and it seems like he's been entering a lot. It feels like he's been grinding a lot. He got a really new controller recently. He's been grinding the hell out of it to kind of get used to it. It sounds like, yeah, I feel like he could be a menace, or already is.
Yeah, we will find out. So we're talking about how Plup is this real contender, right? But,
Yeah.
I feel like we got to talk about Wizzy, right? Wizzy's win,
talk about Wizzy.
obviously, we've been mentioning that. But what's the longevity of this? Is this a one-off thing, or is what do you guys see this going?
Wizzy?
Yeah, Wizzy.
Yeah, I mean, one off in the sense that I think Wizzy is super consistent overall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's gonna beat Mango the next time he plays him. I think you look at the set from yesterday. I just feel like 2 days ago. I just feel like with Mango, like he's going to. I don't know. I just feel like when you beat a demon like that, it's just not that likely to me that Mango's not going to have some. He's gonna come into it with a different mindset next time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that could potentially be a big difference maker. But I expect to continue to see him and put up really good performances. And this is probably also just a weight off his shoulders in the sense that, I think he might have had a mental block with Mango for the longest time. We would see him drop these punishes where it felt like, against other players, he usually gets that. And it feels like he broke through that. So I don't think he's going to beat him next time, but I think he's going to continue to look better against players like Mango.
Well, I will say, even if he doesn't play Mango next week and he beats SFAT, he will still have to play Plup, who he just glowingly talked about. So I think as far as for next week, I find it very unlikely that he would beat Mango again, or in best case
seems unlikely.
But if he does it, that would be something to consider. But we also have to remember that it is just one set.
Yeah. I mean, Wizzy is kind of like the master of catching you slipping, right? Like,
yes, he has the style to do it.
If you're not playing your 10, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, whatever feasible, whatever your feasible A game is, if you're not playing that and you're playing Wizzy, I definitely think you have a chance to lose. It's part Wizzy. I think that None has this too, so maybe it's somewhat a Falcon thing. But Wizzy definitely stylistically, like, I would be scared if Wizzy was in a bracket of someone who's playing shaky. Like even Plup. If Plup is shaky week before, before.
To be fair about his chances against Plup, he did beat them the last time they played on LAN. But again, like I'm saying, that's the outlier in a lifelong head-to-head where Plup mostly smacked him around. Like
Wizzy.
Yeah, where Plup usually.
Yeah, I mean they go so far back. I remember that even in the era when Wizzy was starting to look really, really good, I would watch their local sets, and it always felt like Plup just really understood how to get inside of Wizzy's kind of head, and you would see him just. I remember this really funny set where this was when people like Falcons really started exploiting smash die up on the jabs, and Plup would just down throw him and like up smash. And Wizzy would miss the tech because he's trying to SDI up the jabs, and then Plup would like up smash him and combo him. And like the whole set, Plup would just down throw him and up smash. And he just kept down throwing him and up smashing. And I was like, this is getting ridiculous. Like eventually he's gonna realize you can't just keep doing this miss tech in hopes that Plup is finally gonna start reaction tech chasing you. And he just kept up smashing. And I was like, wow, I mean, it's kind of how it is, I guess. I mean, I don't expect to see that level of like maladaptation or whatever you want to call it, but Plup really understands Wizzy, I think, and what he likes to play for and what his style is all about. They have been even from like not rivals necessarily, but buddies at least. Project M, I remember watching a ton of their like Sonic versus Meta Knight sets from Project M, right? Like they've played so much over the years, and I think Plup is at least in Melee. He's going to have the comfort factor, and I think that's big. I think we saw the comfort factor with HBox versus Callball, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you have a really, really huge kind of set record on especially someone that you know in your local scene, you can kind of fall back on that and be like, well, I at least got this guy's number.
Well,
it's funny you mentioned
right.
that because I think Hungrybox in a normal time would be the question mark for Plup's bracket. And nowadays, if there's a time for Plup to turn it around if they play in bracket, or if there's a time to pounce on a weak Albatross, now is it, right? So
A weak Albatross, not a strong one.
Yeah, a weak one. So Wheat, now is probably a good time for you to remind our viewers that Hungrybox didn't only enter SCL over the last week. This completely flew under the radar for me. I forgot this happened.
So what was the deal? Like, he just wanted to get practice in?
So SCL was the finale of Melee Week, which was, I believe it was about 5 or 6 total events. Over the course of a few days, over the course of a week, Melee Week. And what did we learn? What did we learn from Melee Week? This was like the balls to the walls, like gonna grind Melee. No more messing around, that was what the Melee Week was. And I got a little rundown of Melee Week for you guys, so we can kind of talk about how we think Melee Week went. So East Coast Fridays was the first tournament of Melee Week. He got third, beat Magi, beat Aklo twice, lost to Nun and Ginger. That's fine. Nun and Ginger, top 10, top 15. Magi and Aklo, good wins. I don't think either is scary to him just yet, more so than any player is scary to him currently. But that's good. Rollback Rumble the next day. He gets fourth, beating Bobby Big Balls and Koyashi in winners and losing to Bones and kind of getting, I wouldn't say stomped, but just doing that thing that he does where he just gets hit by every single fair that a Marth puts out. Loses to Koyashi again in losers.
So that's Koyashi again, huh?
Koyashi again. Yeah. So that's the second set loss to Koyashi. Okay.
Yeah.
Brings it back. SOB Sundays.
I actually didn't realize Koyashi was entering stuff, see?
Yeah. Right? But brings it back the next day. SOB Sundays. Number 1. First place. Beats Bobby Big Balls and Akir. Okay.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Yes, 1 and 2 with Melee Week.
Right.
Let's see if Melee Week can continue. So we get tournament mode. Tournament Tuesday. What is it?
TMT.
Tournament
training mode
Tuesdays.
I think
training
it is
mode tournaments.
Training mode tournaments, and it has nothing to do with Tuesday anymore. It used to be Tuesday, but now they've dropped the Tuesday branding because it starts on Monday and it's too confusing.
It's like another acronym that suddenly lost all of its meaning. SCL.
Right. Now it's just training mode tournaments.
Training mode tournaments. So he beat JFlex and Umarth and lost to Ben twice. Which
a recurring storyline.
Bit of a bracket demon. He wins his first Fight Wand 1. Inexplicably named Fight Wand. Just not a pun.
Okay.
Beating Blayagello twice. Which is, we could get into that, but I guess we won't. Gets third at East Coast Fridays. Beats J Salt. Dawson. Bobby Big Balls again. Double limited.
That's good.
By Ben.
He's lost to Dawson, right? He's
lost to Dawson.
It's very
lost
impressive.
to Bobby. But he continues to lose to Ben. Gets 3-0'd by Ben.
Okay.
Levo. Everyone was trying to beat him at Levo. He lost to Elliot. He drops down. He beats Unshort. Goes game 5 with Slug. Game 5 with Jamron. And loses to Kadoran. Gets 13th.
He got 13th?
Got 13th at Levo.
Okay, but he was already in SCL division.
He was in SCL, so he didn't need to. But,
didn't need to.
And then speaking of SCL, we see him beat Kobol, and he loses to Gatsu. So Melee Week, not a resounding success, is it?
Yeah, if you're a
two first place tournaments, and,
it's not the return of Clutchbox. I'll say that much.
I wonder if it's all game, right? It's lulling us into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
I mean, it begs the question.
Just say it.
Begs the question. Where's HBox's stock right now, even?
Leffen. So Leffen was saying, this is probably bad, and I wish someone had told him that. This is what could lead to burnout, right? I don't necessarily know if that's true or not. It feels like Hungrybox plays a ton of online tournaments in both Melee and Ultimate every day. But Yeah, I mean, I would love to see HBox. I guess he just feels like it's not as good content. Like, I think that everyone's kind of saying, he probably needs to spend a little bit more time doing his own practice and kind of like implementing some new techniques and stuff, not necessarily just grinding out tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament. So Levin seemed to say something to the effect of like, dude, this could produce burnout, and I think it did. I mean, I don't know HBox well enough to know if that's exactly what happened, but yeah, I mean, it did not seem like. I mean, where would you rank him at this point? Since you guys are the seeding monsters.
Yeah, I mean, he's the tough one, right?
He's a tough one.
This is
It's not bad.
So we I guess I didn't get flamed for it. So Aiden and I discussed this, and then he had all of the criticism levied towards him when HBox was revealed to be in Division 1 over Moki. And it's definitely one of those things where Moki, consistent results, very good results, and you have HBox who definitely has
all
losses that those players don't, right?
All over the place. Yeah, all over the place.
But is able to do consistently well versus like a certain tier of players.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, it is very easy, and it's certainly fun, to point out all of Hungrybox's losses.
It's very fun.
There is something to say about, like, if you're able to beat the Luckies, the Aklos, and even like at a higher level, the SFATs of the scene, semi-consistently, that's enough to put you well within well within the top 25. Like, so I guess if I had to say, like, he's somewhere between 11 and like 15, but it feels weird saying that because the Hungrybox that we see against just
Zane.
In terms of gameplay, just watching it, eye test for whatever it's worth, the Hungrybox you see against Zane or IBDW is so much more focused, so much more disciplined. Like, it looks like a semi-real set. Like, it would be plausible on land the way it turns out. Whereas, if you see him against someone that he's not so familiar with,
the Otezes of the world, if you will.
Yeah, he's popping off.
I watched him versus Golden or whatever, dude, and I was like, dude, this is getting ridiculous. Or I saw his set with Toussaint, and he's just holding in, and he's complaining about lag the whole time, and it's just like, dude, what is this?
Yeah, I truly don't know, like, what this means, right? And that's the thing. Every time he has a set loss, in the moment, I'm like, well, what does this mean? Does this even take away from him? Dude, he could lose to whatever random PR level player you throw at him, and I still think put him in the ring with SFAT, and I'm not sure if SFAT takes him to game 5.
Now, that being said, I do think that slowly but surely, I do think his ceiling is dropping in the sense that I don't expect, even playing as good as he does, I don't really expect to see him he plays well against players like IBDW, Zane, Mango, but I don't expect to see him beat them.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
And I think that's part of the reason he's been grinding these tournaments. I think he's starting to realize, like, okay, yeah, my losses are probably pretty fluky. At the same time, though, like, I can't just go. I think HBox is even realizing he's not just going to waltz into the first offline major and like beat Zane again. Like, it just there's a point. I mean, he might be able to eke his way into a really good top 8 at whatever the first offline major is bet. But I mean, I don't see him taking the first offline major. I would be really surprised.
Yeah, dude, he's got to get
the
by
rate he's going today.
He's got to get by like Bot Money and Fable before we can even think about.
Did Mod Money take him out?
No, but Fable did 3-0 him.
Fable
earlier.
did 3-0 him. Was it a double
Who's
3 stock
Fable?
on Dreamland? Fable is a New Jersey Sheik who, knowing New Jersey, could be anywhere from second on the PR to 20th in a given PR season.
He 3-0'd him?
Yeah.
He 3-0'd him.
He
I
beat
think
him,
it was a
very
double 3
bad.
stock on Dreamland.
What was HBox doing?
Holding in when he shouldn't be and holding out when he shouldn't
does
be.
hold in, dude. He keeps fucking holding in, dude.
He loves to hold in, and then you see him like die so early to some stuff, and it was like, well, why were you holding in on the other stuff?
So I remember I talked to Zane after whatever it was where he beat. It was like one of the early, like Pirate Online. It was one of the ones where HBox was still like debatably, the best or whatever. It was like early in the COVID era, and he was complaining about the lag and this and that and the other on the stream. And then I was talking to Zane, and Zane was like, "Dude, it was like 20 ping. It felt fine." I would even say it felt good.
So Toph,
I was like, I believe you. I'm definitely gonna trust Zane's word on this one.
So I'm gonna pull a deep cut right now. So at the last LAN major, I believe it. Yeah, it was the last one. HBox played a set against Crudo, which was a 3-1 victory for. It was a 3-1 victory for HBox, but there was a game on Dreamland where Crudo was just like destroying him, right? And this was on LAN.
Okay.
And I remember messaging Wheat like in the middle of the set. I was like, "Are you watching it? Like this is the worst I've ever seen HBox play. Like he's not paying attention. He's not looking at the screen at all." So the feeling I had that one game where Crudo beat him on Dreamland was basically like that whole set against Fable.
Every game he plays.
Yeah, every game against Fable in that one set.
That one game against Crudo is like what you look back at and you're like, we should have known this entire time, right? It's
Right.
it's like when you look back at COVID, and I remember like distinctly thinking before I went to Genesis, I was like, I should get a mask, right? I think there's stuff going around. I was like, oh yeah, that COVID thing's I probably called it the coronavirus at that time, but I was like, that's a thing, and then I thought nothing of it. That's probably what that Crudo set was. We didn't think anything of it at the time, but it probably is like patient zero of this entire thing.
Mango had his flipsies, and so on and so forth, Yeah, I mean, I think that when offline comes back, I think he will stop losing to people like that. He will at least stop losing as hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do think that like the IBDW and players of that caliber are going to be a hard.
Yeah, it's a tall order to beat them.
It's a tall order, but I think he will return to like top 5 or 6. Someone mentioned like 2017 Mango. So 2017 Mango, did not have losses like today HBox, but I can see him getting back to like pretty comfortably top 5 or 6 or whatever. But he is going to have to work, I think, to catch up to the guys that are really at the top right now. And even the Falcon tier, like I think Wizzy's going to be favored over him for a while.
Yeah,
first time they play offline, I think Wizzy probably takes that if I had to guess.
Yeah,
right?
No, I agree. I mean, the thing with him is that the question isn't, can HBox make it to winners top 32 at Genesis 8, right?
Right.
Like, that threat will have subsided by that point, but it's what you're talking about. Like, that tier, he's not in that top echelon. He's not in the, whatever you want to call it. Mango, right. It was the Mango Zane tier, then it was the Mango Zane IBW tier, and now I guess you throw Wizzy in there. S2J obviously is playing at that level, and it's like, I cannot really say with any confidence that any of those players he would definitively beat. Yeah. I think that group, it was Zane in the beginning of net play.
Yeah.
And then it just got bigger and bigger. And like at this point, I really don't know if he runs into Plup, like what happens. If he runs into Leffen obviously is one that a huge question mark.
All right,
I don't know, man. Leffen, that feels tough. I mean, I will say this.
Yeah,
just
okay, Toph. I'll let you get
the
last word, and then we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I just think the first major back, dude. Like everyone's going to be crowding his setups. Like people are going to be watching those sets because that first major back is going to answer a lot of questions that people have been having for a long time.
I am calling a huge Reddit thread when he has a game 3 set with Shabo or something.
Right?
He's going to have some rent, and it's going to be fine. He's going to, 3-stock him in the next game, in game 3. It's going to be fine, but everyone is going to have a heart attack.
But it might not be fine, and that's exactly what people...
We don't know!
We don't know. We literally don't know.
All right. So, Toph, have you ever heard of the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange before?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I have on Twitter, but you're gonna need to run it by me.
Yeah, that's all right. So basically, this is a game that we play on a show. Wheat has beaten every single guest that has played this game.
We've done it twice. I'm 2-0. This is not a huge lead.
Every time.
I like you playing it up.
So,
okay.
So in the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange, the only thing that gets you points are wit and intelligence. No morals are needed. This is a place where I name a melee stock and you got to give me your best take on it in 30 seconds or less, right?
Okay.
So for our first segment of the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange, it's called Buy or Sell. I'm going to name a melee stock, and you're going to have to tell me whether you want to buy that stock or whether you want to sell it. So, Toph, I'll start with you. For our first buy or sell question, buy or sell, SFAT?
Buy, I think buy. And the reason for that is, dude, I feel like Zach He's been definitely one out of his mind. I feel like what do you want from him? SVET's what is SVET's career peak? Like upper top tens? I think he's there right now. I think the SCL format actually works great for him. This was my theory. I think his SVET at SCL is wonderful because he's got a coach that's good at analyzing the game. He's got he's a very game plan oriented player. So you give a game plan oriented player a week or two to prepare for his matches, he's generally going to look pretty good. He's looked pretty good. He's at least as good as he's ever been, and he's got a trampoline that he's jumping around on now.
All right,
that's good. I think.
Wait, tell me your thoughts.
I want to. Toph went over time. Strike that from the record. I was going to say trampoline.
No morals.
He's got a trampoline. I am buying SFAT so much. He's gonna. Dude, have you seen how pumped he is? I think this is a good like stock of players what we currently have for him to do well against. I think he's going to jump all the way from 9th place every major to 7th place.
All right,
and that's big.
Cool. That's big.
So 100% more screen time at top 8s.
So for our second buy or sell question, Wheat, I want you to tell me buy or sell the West Coast.
I'm buying the West Coast. We're getting some events back. You know, we are seeing for the first time some in-person tournaments. Dude, while we are recording this, an in-person event just ended in Philly. So that's the thing. I think West Coast maybe on net play are not the biggest tournament grinders, but like we talked about earlier, they're grinding on friendlies right now. And the second they can go to Irvine and play for 4 hours and get $16 for placing second, and that's the one we're going to see all these players popping off.
All right, Toph, give me your take.
Yeah, I was actually going to kind of echo Wheat on this one. I think buy the dip. I'm going to acknowledge it's a dip. We don't look the best right now. Hey, I got 33rd at that one tournament at West Coast, and I was like, cool, let's see who got 33rd on the East Coast. And like, Hacks got like 65th. I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. And I'll admit it. I've been playing some unranked doubles. Sometimes I queue for East Coast. I've been getting better games on the East Coast. I'm sorry, West Coast, I don't know what the hell's going on. You guys all suck at doubles. The key is to hit the opponents that are the different color. So if you're blue, you wanna hit the red guys and don't hit the blue guy. And I know Red Falco looks kind of blue. Blue Mario looks kind of red. You know, it's a little challenging sometimes. What the hell's going on? But you buy. That's the principle of stock market. Buy when it's low. It's going to go up.
Nice. Okay, Toph, buy or sell?
Yeah.
Scar as a competitor in 2021.
Oh, good question. In 2021, man, that's soon. Well, I've got to say buy. He's got only one direction to go. He hasn't really been entering stuff. I think it's same deal as the West Coast. I think right now, if you're ever going to get in on Scar, this is the time to do it. The stock is at its lowest, not because he's been putting up bad performances, because he hasn't really been entering stuff yet. Yeah.
I'm at a inconclusive because Scar right now is one of those like those coins that get invented and like clearly no one put any thought into them, and you buy it for 1 penny and it stays 1 penny the entire time, right? I think Scar is great. I mean, obviously one of the best commentators. Fashion sense, amazing. But I think he's a very busy man, and I'm sure I'm going to be hyped for every tournament he enters, and I am not sure how many that will end up being. So I'm going to say he's like when they make Larry King into like some cryptocurrency, and you buy King coin, and then suddenly it like 404s the second that you try to figure out how much King coin is at.
Okay. It's 404 because too many people are hitting the website. It's DDoSing.
All right, that ends the buy or sell segment.
Okay.
I'm going to have you start out the Is It a Bubble segment. In this segment, I'm going to name something related to Melee, and you're going to tell me if it's a bubble or not. Wheat, are floaties a bubble or not?
No. Floaties will dip, and Blur will say that they don't exist on Twitter, but they will always be back, even if it's inexplicable. Just like how amazing Keizu is currently. Keizu's an amazing player. You could have given me like 1,000 hours to analyze the gameplay, and I would not say that he would be popping off as much as he is right now. So can I tell you when floaties are going to dip and when they're going to come back? No, but that's not a bubble.
And Toph?
Floaties are not a bubble, but bubbles are floaty.
Damn.
All right. Toph, tell me, is it a bubble? PPMD's educational unranked.
Oh, interesting. No. And I think the reason I say that is because PP feels like, wait, I mean, maybe it's just because I've been talking to him a lot because of Golden Guardians and stuff, but PP feels like he's getting more and more active. He's getting more and more into it. He's been putting in YouTube daily uploads. He's actually been talking about coming back to tournaments, and I know this because he's been talking to my boss. I think, yeah, there's only one way PP stock goes. It's up.
I agree. I think Toph
stay.
and I have been holding hands on each one of these questions, but I agree. I mean, anyone else, this educational thing, like, no, dude. The second it doesn't get any clicks, the second it gets consistently however many Twitch views, I think a lot of content creators would drop it. But I think this is how PP would play and think normally, and I don't think he's really concerned with following the latest trend to stream. Like, is it a bubble in that it's gonna, eventually viewers are gonna peter out? Yeah, possible. But is it a bubble that, like, he will stop doing it and it'll stop being useful for him? No. Like, this will continue to be good for PP.
Cool.
So depending on what you consider a bubble, I guess.
So wait, is Japan a bubble or no?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'm gonna say
Japanese Melee. Let me clarify.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I don't think they're a bubble, but I definitely don't think it's ever going to peak super high for Melee. Amsa's amazing. Shunsuke is amazing. I don't think we're really going to see Rudolph again, but if we did, he'd be amazing. Gucci, obviously. They have so many players that are good. I do think that the general weeb culture is always going to say that they're going to be great, and then they're going to get like 65th at everything. I just think that's how it's going to go. But no, I mean, those players have always been good. I think that Sane will continue to exist until the end of time, and I think until then he'll always get second at every battle gateway.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you can't call it a bubble if it's like a low. I feel like this is a real low point for Japan, right? Like, for whatever reason, they've had a hard time like getting like having people like really get on board with like Slippy tournaments and stuff. So it feels like a lot like Sana's been playing Falco on unranked. Like, it feels like a lot of them are turning inactive. So no, insofar as it's a low point right now. Yeah, no, insofar as it's the opposite of a bubble. It's a dip. That's the opposite of a bubble, right? It's like a dip right now. Slippy Japan is a dip.
Okay. So that ends the Is It a Bubble segment. And then for the last question, and you guys are tied right now, so this will determine the winner of the stock exchange.
Okay.
It's a segment I like to call short sell. So it's very simple. Toph,
Okay.
what current Melee stock are you borrowing, selling, and scooping up later at a lower price?
Say that again. Which current Melee stock am I hoarding right now so I can sell later?
No, you're hoarding. You're selling it immediately, and then you're scooping it up later.
Oh, and I'm scooping it up later?
So you're short selling.
Oh, none, dude. Absolutely none. Are you kidding me? It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. People, he got bounced out of the SCL. I'm thinking, I'm not worried about him. He's gonna make it in. He's either gonna make it in via the open bracket, or he's gonna campaign for like 2 seconds, shift to 6 different camera angles, and everyone's gonna campaign him in, and then he's gonna get like 5th or 4th or 3rd or something at Summit 11. Easy.
And
None is a great answer. Someone who's dipped a little bit, but like airplanes, you always gotta buy it whenever it dips, right? None will always be good. I'm gonna go for a further dip and a bigger raise, which is going to be Axe. Axe, not pretty right now. Mm-hmm. He is entering secondaries as if he is Zane doing Don't Test Me, but he does not have those same results. So, like, when we're seeing his Pika, it's not performing to the level where it's really, like, letting me know that he is still top 10, top 20. And when he is going Ices and Falco and Young Link, I really don't know what like he's doing with that at all. So as long as he keeps getting, 9th or whatever at any big tournament, I will sell it, scoop it up, and buy it back whenever he eventually gets into Summit and up air spikes lucky or some shit.
All right, Toph, you put a valiant effort forward, but unfortunately, Wheat has won the Edwin Budding stock exchange for the third consecutive round.
How do you determine that? What did I do? What was why?
I just gave a point to whoever had a more compelling or better answer.
Why'd you feel like Axe was more compelling?
Because Wheat answered it by virtue of like, not only was he borrowing the Axe stock, he was selling it, predicting that Axe would do worse, like provided more net play events, and he's buying them back once land returns.
Okay, I'll bet you 10 gifted subs that none outplaces Axe at the first offline major.
Oh, at the first land. Well, we're not
At the first LAN event.
We don't have a.
I mean, it might not happen for a year, but
are you counting Summit as the big thing?
A Summit is Summit. Would you guys call Summit a major?
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
sure.
It would. Oh, come on! If that's the case,
if it's offline,
we'll call it Summit.
But Axe also has to be in it, right? Like Axe might not make it into Summit. We'll see.
Axe is getting voted in immediately.
I feel like he gets voted in. Yeah,
he's gonna do the gif of him eating.
Yeah, we
pizza.
can say Summit. We can say Summit.
Let's say Summit.
Let's say Summit. We'll put 10 gifted on it.
Now, if I wanted to win this bet, Edwin, I wouldn't have said Summit counted, but hey, why not?
We can say post Summit too. We can hold out on this one as long as we want to.
No, let's do it. I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down too.
All right, cool.
Good
games.
I will say that we are not partnered. Melee Stats is not partnered.
Yeah, we don't have a subscriber button yet.
But we'll figure
I'll
something
take
out.
you guys out to a very nice meal at the first offline major that is worth at least the sum of, you know what I mean?
Sounds
something
good, man.
like we'll do something like that, or I'll just hit your PayPal or Patreon
We'll figure it all out.
or OnlyFans or whatever.
Yeah, whatever subscription model.
Whatever the subscription model, is relevant at the time. Because who knows? Maybe this COVID stuff lasts for 3 more years, and by then we've got all kinds of new crazy subscription platforms. We have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we could. What's Samus's title up to? I'm sure we could get a Melee Stats OnlyFans going.
Yeah, probably.
All right, don't give me that look. Let me get my minute. If you win this, you get a minute to talk.
Yeah,
okay.
that is true.
You can do any kind of content on OnlyFans as you want. I want you guys to know that. You can literally, it does not have to be. I think there's a certain connotation that gets associated with it. But from what I've heard,
the most loot is going to be 3 buttons unbuttoned.
So, do you want to spend your minute talking about what the Melee Stats OnlyFan would look like, or no?
No, I want to talk about my good friend, Ambi Sinister, who is currently getting drunk right now to celebrate his birthday.
Oh,
I want to wish my friend a happy birthday. And Edwin, next time I see you, it's going to be before your birthday.
Yeah, it'll be before our birthdays.
Well, the episode after that, by that point,
oh no,
the big reveal is that Edwin and I have the same birthday.
Wow.
He did not believe me. I had to pull out my my ID, a government issued ID, to show that we indeed have the same birthday. 1 year apart.
I thought it was a bit. I thought it was a bit for sure. We actually met each other. We met each other for the first time in person on our birthday weekend during Royal Flush. That was when.
Really? Which Royal Flush?
This is a trick question.
Yeah, the only one.
Has there only been one Royal Flush?
Yeah.
Is that the one where Mango did the cannonball pose?
That was it.
So that was like
2017
or something. 17.
Yeah. One of the best birthday weekends ever.
That sounds right.
One of the best birthday weekends ever.
All right. Did you know that DJ Combo and Eggs of Washington
Wow, that's a
have
throwback.
the same surname? Yeah, have the same surname, Johns. Both of their parents have the same first name. So DJ Combo's dad is the same first name as Eggs' dad. DJ Combo's mom is the same first name as Eggs' mom. And they have the same birthdays.
That is nuts.
That's too much, right? That's too much. That's
That
too
is
many
crazy.
similarities.
Another
too much.
similarity before we end this, I want to talk about a question that was generated for Melee Jeopardy all the way back, in December when we had 5 days of Melee, which I could never word and Ambi could never word correctly. But Eggs and Eggum both got the same placing at pound 3. 3 or 4?
4.
Was it pound 4?
I was there. 4.
Okay.
4? Well, it might have been 3. Hang on.
Let's see.
Usually pretty easy to find the pound 3 bracket. There's like images of it in a Google image search.
But what a little yeah. It was 13th at pound 3, dude.
It was 3.
If they did this at pound 4 too, I would go nuts.
That'd be weird.
But it looks like they did it. Yeah, pound 3, 13th from both of them. Isn't that so weird?
Wow, that is so weird. That is indeed so weird.
It's amazing that Melee can exist so long where that little such tiny weird little things happen.
Now there's a Yoshi player named Eggs with a $sign.
Yeah, is Egg money or is it eggs? I don't even know. But a funny situation, probably 2019. I was watching something. I was watching the Louisiana local, and it was Skittles, the Louisiana player, Fox, Sheik, whatever. And someone was like, "Oh, I didn't know Skittles played Marth," and it's like, yeah, I guess they could play Marth every now and then, do what they want to do. And they're like, "Wow, Skittles is losing to this person." And I'm like, "I've never heard of this person." I checked the stream. Skittles was playing Fox. What are you talking about? At that very moment in Louisiana and Long Island, there were 2 players on stream at different tournaments, both named Skittles. And the funny thing was, I went back and checked the VODs just to check it out. At that very moment, the Skittles Louisiana player ended up playing Marth. Not a character that he busts out often, not his most used in his arsenal. But at one point in the world, the same exact time, there was a stream that had Skittles the Marth player versus whoever. Another stream, thousands of miles away, with Skittles the Marth player.
Wow.
What a weird Melee world we live in.
I mean, some people just like Skittles as a candy. So sometimes, people are just thinking about it. They got Skittles on the brain. Maybe that's what was happening. I have no idea.
I think there's also an Ultimate player named Skittles, but I don't know if they come into this weird story.
Yeah.
And if we're
That's how
talking,
it goes.
if we're talking stories, this isn't going to be a weird one, but this is going to be a good one because we're talking about SCL Week 4. Dude,
SCL Week 4.
I am excited for this. The storylines going into this.
I think Mango Plup is the set to look out for the tournament, far and away, right?
You mentioned
Mango
it
Plup
earlier.
just feels like, dude, like it's double limb, right? It's double limb, so this is the kind of thing where you're gonna like I just feel like this is gonna be such a it's crazy because it's not even an upset. We were talking a little about Plup earlier. I think he can totally just do it.
Yeah,
he just has the capability to just do it. And I'm worried. I'm worried for Mango and the nation that and I'm worried equivalently for Plup. I want both of them to make it into Summit. I think they both deserve it.
You mentioned this is double elimination. For a lot of these players, this is the first double elimination event that they've been in for a little bit, over a month. Yeah. So we will see. We have not seen Losers Mango for a little bit. We've not seen Losers Plup, both which hold pretty different connotations.
Totally.
So it'll be interesting to see how these players are affected by losers. Like we've had when we see a player who's up and coming, a lot of times people will kind of talk about their mentality when they get sent to losers. I think people
there is a bias. Doesn't it feel like there's a bias against that? People tend to bias experience as something that really helps with those sorts of situations where you're down because you've got sent to losers or something.
Yeah, it's like IBW. People were like, he can't hold it in losers. I think he was fine. His entire career,
his
upward trajectory.
One of his most notable tournament performances ever was a huge losers run.
Yeah.
At the Smash Summit where he lost to Spud in pools, and then beat Amsa, HBox, and Mango in losers.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think the whole thing about saying that someone's really bad in losers or needs the experience, a little bit of a hogwash. But we are coming up on something where these players haven't even seen losers recently.
Yeah, I will say I feel so bad for for whoever wins Magi Ginger because they have to play the loser of Mango Plup. What a brutal draw. And before anyone brings it up, I know that Magi and Ginger beat Plup's Fox, but I just think that's a completely his Sheik is a completely different beast.
Yeah, Plup has never looked that great at Fox versus Falco or whatever. It's kind of is what it is. I just feel like I don't know. Dude, it's just gonna be a tough tournament. I think everyone in it is kind of a killer. I don't think there's necessarily any easy part of the bracket. So
and I think that I don't know what people are going through mentally, but I'd imagine that the stakes on the line are huge. Does that mean that your Mangoes of the world could be like, oh, it doesn't matter. I could literally get 13th here and make it in. I guess he can't get 13th. He's in winners.
Right.
But I wonder how this affects people. Obviously, there are certain people who their chances of qualifying through bracket are a lot better than qualifying through voting. You know, Mango can make it no matter what he does, but I'm not sure if Ben gets 13th here.
Yeah,
if he makes
does
it
he
out,
get voted
you know,
in? Yeah,
exactly.
how does that kind of experience pan out? We're not sure. We
So
are not sure.
I wonder how this affects how seriously every player's taking it. But I mean, I imagine this is like the stakes are high. That's what
They
the best
are.
melee comes
They
out.
are. I'm pulling up the bracket right now. I just want to make sure I've got the. Yeah, I wish the Liquipedia bracket showed like who plays who and losers if they, because I don't have that data available to me.
Yeah, I think in the Melee Stats Discord server, which is public, and the link to which is going to be in the description of this episode, I believe that this was posted by Aiden, who leaked it.
Okay, so that type.
Yeah. So
Now-
let's see if I can pull that up.
If you're in winner's bracket, I think we figured this out on Radio Melee. If you're in winner's bracket, you win a single game or set rather, you're done. You're in. You're not done, but the 4 people who win in winner's bracket are top 6, and therefore they are in Summit.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. Man, yeah, this is dude, yeah, I wish I knew. You're saying I saw Mango made a tweet to the effect of like, you know, God, I would rather go to watch these sporting events than lose to Plup and somehow Hungry Box, which made me think, oh, maybe Mango knows that if he loses, he goes to the Hungry Box side of the bracket.
Yeah.
I guess you're saying it's Magi Ginger, but I think the winner of that has potentially Hungry Box or Sunsei anyway. So
Yeah, so I did send you. I don't know if you saw the link to it, the one that Aiden leaked. But yeah, I mean, so the loser of Mango Plup goes down to play Mango Ginger or Magi Ginger, the winner of that, and then Sunsei H-Box feeds into loser of Wizzy SFAT, which then feeds into whoever that is. Is that Mango? Is that Plup? Whatever, and that is for loser gets 7th place. So we could see potentially H-Box versus Mango to see who makes it into Summit. We could see Plup versus H-Box. We could also see Sunsei versus Plup. Sunsei versus Magi.
Didn't Mango beat the brakes off H-Box the last time they played? It looked bad. It looked terrible. In fact,
it was not close.
Yeah, he beat him convincingly, like 3-1 or something.
I actually feel like I have this weird like read on their dynamic that like I feel like Mango actually I feel like a lot of people like Zane is this thing when he plays H-Box where H-Box kind of thinks to himself, like this is he kind of powers up a little bit because he's like, this is one of my old offline rivals. I got to make sure I'm keeping him in check kind of thing. But I feel like Mango like is playing when he knows he like deserves to win. He kind of plays with this extreme confidence. And I feel like super confident Mango versus H-Box, it just kind of ends up looking like their 2013, 2014 sets where H-Box just feels slow. Like the last time they played, H-Box just felt like he was slow compared to Mango, who was just kind of running all over him. And I don't know.
H-Box has a bit of like a Senzu bean in these sets, right? Like the ones where he's like, okay, I gotta do this. If this means winning or if this means game 5 or whatever, I definitely think you're right. There's a boost when he's playing Zane or whatever. And we talked about, Edwin and I talked about this. I said, if this was at Summit 10, the online one where H-Box looked horrible, and then I predicted he would run through his pool. I said
did well in his pool, kind of.
He did really well. I said if he makes it,
he beat everyone.
He'd soon say.
They
were close sets. Very close. He had to smash the out of that up air, but he did.
I said to Edwin, if he plays Mango, he's beating Mango. It's all on the line, right? It's confidence. It's all about proving someone wrong. But I don't know.
To the haters, to prove the haters and doubters.
It's the haters, right?
I believe that is the term you specifically use. I think you like, if I were to remember the exact words you said, I think you said something along the lines of Hungrybox only plays to prove the haters wrong.
And I don't think I was wrong.
Yeah, I couldn't doubt you after the pools. After pools, I text you and I think I said something along the lines of like, Hungrybox is winning the tournament, isn't he, Wheat? And you were like, if he avoids IBW, it's done. And
So this was immediately after Mango tweeted that HBox probably doesn't deserve to be in Summit. Remember, because HBox dropped out of the last 2 weeks of SCL for whatever reasons and got automatically invited to Summit, where everyone else had to qualify.
Yeah.
And Mango is like, he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't care.
deserve it.
And at that point, I saw that and I said, if he runs into Mango, he's beating Mango. Now we're at a different time, right? They have different trajectories since then. And also, Mango hasn't tweeted any dumb shit like that to HBox. So I think if they played, I wouldn't see it as such a confident thing that HBox is going to get him like this.
Doesn't it feel like the last couple times people have, Moki did that too, and Moki beat him?
Moki
So
being
Moki
bad.
was another hater.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3-2. Wasn't it 3-2?
But he washed him in the last game.
Did he?
Okay.
Okay.
He was like
What's the
taunting
outcome?
on
Moki
him.
did the same thing. Moki was a hater, and then Moki just kind of got in there and did his thing. So
Yeah, but Moki is...
maybe the hater power-up's not as strong as we used to think it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
What were you going to say about Moki? Finish that thought. Curious.
He's
Not
not
not a Mango teeter.
He... So, what is the quote? The people don't care about the feelings of ants or whatever. That's not it. But it's generally close, right?
Moki and HBox don't have the same level of history than Mango
Moki
and
and
HBox.
HBox don't beef like that. They don't have the same level of history. Yeah.
But Moki was beefing, for what it's worth. He could have easily kept his mouth shut and had a pressure-free
yeah.
HBox set, but no, he had to go and put his. But he did it. He put his money where his mouth was, and he came up big. So
We will see.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I guess.
I mean, we could very well not see. It's not definitive.
You know what I
that they play.
think, man? I think HBox needs Crunch. I think he needs Crunch back.
He needs to
I just
fly
feel
him across the country during.
Dude, yeah, I just
Like
think
he did
Crunch is
last
having
year.
a luxurious life as a software engineer at Google. I know what
You ever
that's
run
like.
into him on unranked at all?
No. Oh, good question. No, not on unranked at all. I run into a lot of people on unranked. I haven't run into Crunch. That's how you know, I guess.
Interesting.
Maybe I don't know what the hell he's doing. But we always used to say in NorCal, Google is where the good Melee players go to retire. Fruit Loop went to Google, never heard from him again.
Gar?
Moose. Gar? Well,
Google?
actually, Gar's pretty good. Gar actually has been playing a fair bit in Japan, actually. I actually had the closest set we've ever had when I went to Japan. I had a game 3 with him at a Battle Gateway. He never used to take me to game 3
Oh,
at
damn.
the Foundry.
Nice.
Yeah, he played quite well against me. He took me to game 3. Thank God I won game 1. Let's go Pokemon Stadium. Anyway, yeah, and then Kalamazoo. He was super inactive when he worked at Google. Then quit Google, went to LinkedIn. Now he's active again. Now he's really good. I'm telling you, Google Kazoo does not take a game off Plup. I'll tell you that. For some reason. I don't know what it is about Google, man. If you want to retire as a Melee player, you go work at Google. None of those guys ever. You never see the light of day from those people. I think it's all the free food,
Maybe.
free food and something.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. They fatten you up.
Wait, I'm gonna ask you something then. If you had to pick someone who was not in winners to make the losers run and make it into the top 6 to make it to Summit, who's your pick?
Well, so last week we pretty prematurely did say who we thought was going to qualify.
We said Sunsei last week.
Well, we didn't say Sunsei. Pipsqueak said Sunsei, and in solidarity with our guest, we put Sunsei in there.
Yeah, true.
Now, do I think Sunsei is making it through HBox, and then the loser of Wizzy SFAT, and then potentially Mango and Plup?
Yes.
No, yes, sure, yes. I don't really think so.
I think it could be I think it could be doable if he got Hungrybox into SFAT into Plup, but I think it's just that's so many sets, right?
Yeah.
Sunsei can beat anyone though. Right? The only thing is he gonna beat them all in a row? Probably not.
We would need to see some.
I think Mango and Zane are the only people I wouldn't give him a realistic chance against.
Yeah.
I think
Does he have to beat
everyone
one of
else,
those?
yeah.
He'd if Mango fell to losers, he'd have to beat Mango to get into top 6.
Which tells me he'd also have to beat Plup by that logic. He would have to beat Plup.
He would
to
have
get
to
top
beat
6.
one or the other.
Of Mango or Plup.
Yeah, whoever falls down to
But
losers.
I would feel much more confident in him against Plup than I would Mango.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Fox Cheek, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
We talk about Mango's streak versus Falcon. Obviously, that was a big thing. Got broken. broken. None broke it last year, and then Land the year before that. But Mango Streak versus Fox is pretty good. It's not too shabby.
Yeah.
Like how he does versus Fox is, I think, we really underrate. So Sunsei definitely, I think has the ability to beat any of these people, but not my pick. If you want my honest pick, H-Box is probably the best pick, but I'll go S2J. S2J has to be Ben, and I know Ben is not confident in the Falcon matchup. Ben is so good in so many matchups, but the Falcon one, a little bit of a blind spot right now.
Yeah.
Which, for an up-and-coming player, if your blind spot is a matchup that is traditionally thought of as favorable, that's great. It's like those Marth players who are up-and-coming, and their worst matchup is Fox. Dude, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. That's literally Kadora.
You're halfway there. You're a Marth player who can beat
matchup.
every Sheik but can't beat Fox. Dude, I'll bet on that every day of the week.
Yeah.
So Ben, currently, a Sheik player who can destroy H-Box and can't beat a Falcon. Maybe I'm not betting on him right now, but in the future, definitely someone. But yeah, so S2J has that. Loser of IBW versus Moki, which we just saw Moki beat S2J, but I think S2J is capable of doing that. And then plays probably looks like Gatsu versus winner of Gatsu, Polish Albert. Any one of those little people, unless Zane somehow loses to Gatsu, which is possible.
I agree that if there's anybody that's starting in losers that I think can make it in, it's probably S2J.
Yeah.
He's got the bracket, and he's also just. I mean, he had kind of a rough performance last week, but overall, recently he's looked amazing. So
yeah, it's kind of the outlier.
I'm kind of thinking week 3 was more than likely a fluke, and we'll just kind of see what happens.
All right. So do you think it's about time we mentioned players who are likely to make it from losers? Cards on the table. Let's mention those 6. I'll throw in Gatsu. I'll start it off spicy. Let's say Gatsu makes it in. I think that Zane is a great matchup for him to have. Better than Mango. Better than IBW, probably. I think Wizzy would be a good one for him. But Zane, if it's possible, if anyone at that level, I think Gatsu could do it. And then would likely play Albert Polish, would play S2J. All stuff that I think that he's shown that he's proficient in, especially lately. I'll pick Gatsu. I'll start off spicy. Toph, you want to give me one?
That is spicy. I'll say Zane. Easy.
Okay.
I'll say Zane. I'll leave you the
Not every take has to be hot.
No.
That's number 1 rule.
I'm gonna go with so if you went with a not hot one and you went with a hot one, I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle and say Plup. I think even if Plup loses to Mango early, I think his baseline is just so solid. He'll
You're gonna meet us at like a Poblano or something.
Yeah. Sure.
A Poblano. Those are good too. They taste good. I think Plup. Dude, I don't know. Like when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, isn't he rusty? And then I like really thinking about it, I'm like, dude, it was one fucking set to Gadoran. Like,
exactly.
He's looked amazing outside of that.
I think it also
fine.
tells us a lot more about like Kadoran's ability to punch up.
It does.
Than it does.
I'm thinking Plub Ginger, right? Like Plub Ginger it just looked easy breezy. It looked like whatever. This is how I used to do against players of Ginger's caliber. I'm Plub, Plub none, I think Plub overall, that's a great middle of the road.
Wait, so who's our 4th then? We said Zane. We said Gatsu, Zane, Plup.
I shouldn't have started off with the hot take because I'm gonna.
You can't do too many more hot takes now.
I'm gonna do the fucking milk take right now. I think Wizzy's making it.
Sure.
Right. SFAT has been an issue for Wizzy on and off, but he looked very good versus him last week. And I think that even if it is one of those weeks where Wizzy doesn't perform well, which he's had both in person and mostly online, I still think he has a good chance of making it through losers. I definitely don't think that his... actually, if he loses to SFAT, he'd probably have to play Mango or Plup. Okay, whatever. I still pick him. I think he's going to beat SFAT.
Yeah, he would. SFAT would be that's his way to get in, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with an easy one here. Obviously, what if IBW or Moki's going to make it in?
That's probably like...
Actually, it's probably IBW, but like not.
Yeah, I think IBDW has the edge, but it feels like a coin flip. Like
Feels like a coin flip. Moki can definitely do it. But I'll say, okay, I'll get spicy with it. We had Moki in the reads one time. I'll say Moki. I think Moki's going to do it. Moki,
right,
I mean, the thing is, right when you think you got it on lock, Moki, he's going to get you. That's when he gets you. He's complaining about lag. I got to go to my friend's house, blah, 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 Canadian internet, blah, 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 Bell, something, something. And then he gets you, and you don't see it coming. I think with Moki, you just don't see it coming.
Yeah,
Toph,
and we kind of backed you up here. You have to pick someone. Like,
Toph,
there's a lot of people who are statistically eliminated.
I like the Moki pick. I like the Wizard pick. Wheat. None of us has had Mango yet.
Yeah.
You should probably just
it's
got to say
yeah,
Mango, right?
with that.
Yeah.
Also, there's very few people who you could say who could still make it in with the people who we've chosen.
It's true. Yeah, just mathematically, or the way the bracket works. With Mango, I feel like
How
Mango's
did it
got
take
a good...
us so long to pick Mango? Is Plup so scary?
we just didn't want to say it. No, we just wanted to give it. We didn't want to be the
fair
easy.
enough.
I think Mango, it's going to be, I feel like it's easy for Mango. Because the thing is, first of all, Mango probably is like at least 60-40 over Plup. Second of all, even if Mango goes to losers, it's like Mango versus the Falco, right? Because it's Mango versus Magi or Ginger, which he probably gets. And then it's like Mango versus Soothsayer or H-Box or whatever. And that doesn't, I don't know. I feel like Mango could lose to H-Box, but probably just doesn't. Like, I don't know. It feels incredibly unlikely to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Mango would have to play like, wow, Mango's playing really bad. It'd have to be one of those. You know?
Yeah.
It seems like he probably just gets in. Doesn't seem that challenging.
Do we, before we go on to like the Q&A, just because it's getting a little late, do we have any predictions for who will win SCL? I already wrote all my reasons for why I think Zane will win. Basically, just I still think he's the best player in the world, so I'm gonna go with him. Wheat, do you have anyone different that you think will win?
Yeah, I think you're right. Zane will win. This is like, do you remember when we used to do podcasts in like 2019, and we come up with these elaborate reasons why HBox was not the favorite to win, because no one wanted to say that HBox is going to win because it's like such a bad, it's such a lame.
The downer. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Plup.
Cool. To win
Plup,
okay.
Plup,
cool.
we talked Mango, very doable for Plup.
Yeah.
Wizro, very doable. Zane, very doable.
Doable.
All people who would be in his path.
Magi and Ginger, doable.
Doable, yeah. I think that...
we're saying Zane is doable, and I totally understand that for, like, a fully in-shape, practiced Plup. But, like, I'm just saying Zane has, like... We've seen it happen last year, and Zane has beaten him. It's not like that's a guaranteed.
Yeah, it was close.
I feel like I'm getting talked down to for not picking Zane. And I feel like that's kind of a lame thing to pick. I'm just saying.
You're being the cool guy. You should be the one talking down to him for picking Zane.
I'm in the cool guy. I'm being told that it's not environmentally friendly to wear leather. As I'm wearing my cool leather jacket and my
I thought you would pick
sunglasses.
Mango, or I wasn't expecting Plup. Damn.
All right, I'll pick Moki. I think Moki wins the whole thing.
Okay, Edwin, tell him why he's wrong.
I don't know. I don't know.
Zane's the reason.
Yeah,
Zane's the reason.
Zane is on his side of bracket. That's the reason I'm staying away from.
That's when you need to get him. You need to get him early. It's like with Wizzy Mango. You need to get it out of the way, and then you're feeling so pumped from that.
But who knows, man? Maybe Gatsu beats Zane, and Moki doesn't have to worry about that.
The scary thing about Zane is that he is not a player who has a bad time. Mango has his
I've never seen
10
Zane
a.m.
play
pools.
Yeah.
You have those people who begin to play worse if they had to play like all these sets and losers, and it's getting to like midnight or whatever. I think you could literally wake Zane up at like 4 a.m. in the morning and be like, "Hey, you have to play IBDW. He's been practicing for like 3 hours straight. He's all warmed up."
Right,
dude. Yeah, I still think Zane would play amazing. I don't get it. I don't get how he does it.
I don't really either, except for I think practice.
Practice.
Wait, do we have any questions we want to ask Toph before we log off?
Yeah, so I think Toph, I don't know how long you want to stay around. We actually have some great questions.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
we have some great questions fielded from our Patreon.
Okay.
The first week they gave us some good questions for IBW. The second week they gave us all bad joke questions for Slime.
Okay.
I said that on the podcast that they're bad questions, and they gave me great questions for Pipsqueak last week.
Okay.
This week they're reverting back to memes, but in the shell of the meme, there are some really great questions. So I'm going to try to find some. One that stuck out to me was it was from, I believe, Vlurk, who is a Samus from the Netherlands.
Sure.
So he says, you have the background in rhythm games. I know you used to make, was it Step Mania things or whatever?
Yeah.
You have spent time in the fighting game community, obviously, through Melee, and you've spent time in the rhythm game community. Have you noticed any similarities between how the two communities kind of hold themselves?
Yeah, Melee and rhythm gamers are ultimately both button pressers, and they both attract a lot of weird nerdy types that really like to. I think the way your energy gets directed is a little bit different in the rhythm game community. As you might imagine, there's a close connection with just music in general, and there are a lot of people that they get inspired to write music and do things like that. But they're ultimately, I think the thing about rhythm gaming is that it is ultimately a competition between you and the game. It's kind of like speedrunning or racing games or something like that, right? It's not direct competition. And so I think because of that, there are a lot of rhythm gamers that are just they just get to kind of nerd out and it just kind of becomes an outlet, where you get to sort of just put yourself. It's like you versus the machine, and you also get to and like I mentioned, there are a lot of kind of cool outlets if you don't necessarily want to just be a player. You can be like me. You could create charts for songs, or you could literally create songs. And I think Melee is sort of the similar thing where there's a lot of kind of extraneous, ways to kind of express yourself beyond just playing the game itself. You have you guys, where you have controller modders, where you have, tournament organizers, you have frame data nerds, you have combo machines, clip machines like, Moki and Acid X, which are obviously a little bit closer to competition. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of different, they both have that similarity of like, there's tons of ways to kind of get in and kind of geek out, and it sort of attracts a lot of those sorts of people.
Toph, can I ask you something that might be a bad question?
Sure.
Do you count Rock Band as a rhythm game like the other
Yeah,
ones?
I think it. I mean,
no, this is a trap. This is entrapment. He's gonna tell you that he got 100% expert vocals on all Rock Band songs.
That was my hobby before I got into Melee. That
seems not that hard.
Yeah, no, it was very easy. Okay. I literally just did expert vocals for the first Rock Band.
And yet I've heard it 20 times.
Yeah. Guitar Hero, I'm Chris for Life. He's the best North American DDR player, and he was also the best Guitar Hero player. So, there's certainly crossover.
All right. So, Edwin, I think we should. Toph has been such an amazing guest. I think we should let him go soon. I've got one spicy question to end on. Do you want to jump in before we give that spicy question, or you want me to just go straight to it?
Just go straight to it.
All right. Ready? Toph.
Yeah.
Should Melee and Ultimate have separate tourneys? This is not regionals. This is majors. Separate majors.
Why? What's the argument for having separate tournaments?
So I think recently, without getting into too much, we've seen a kind of difference in opinion of the Melee community and Ultimate community. I don't think this is something that we've seen at large from the the figureheads, but I know a lot of people, the way that they have been encountering some of their sorted figures, like Zero or Ally or something like that,
right.
Has been in a way that's not the like strongest, shutting them out. And I know a lot of Melee players who are not happy with this. Like, what do you think the viability of this is?
First of all, I disagree with the use of the word figurehead. That's just not what that word means. This is something that figurehead doesn't mean. Figurehead.
I've read the Peef posts about this.
This isn't a Peef thing. This is me.
Peef used to rant about it. He used to rant about it on my a lot.
Well, that's not what that word. You could just say figure, and that's more accurate. And you're also dropping a syllable. You could just anyway. But no, that's a good question. Okay, look, I think that. So there's a couple things going on here. First of all, I think that for better or for worse, the larger esports community lumps us together. And I think that if we shut them out and just not associate with them, I think it just ultimately can only like harm us in more ways than one. One, it's less exposure for a wonderful game. And two, we have less of an opportunity to kind of exert good influence. I think that there are probably a lot of misguided kids in the community. I think Ultimate is generally younger. And I think if we say, okay, these literal teenagers have problematic opinions, like we did when we were teenagers, if you look at Smashboards when a lot of people in the Melee community were 15, there are a lot of problematic things on there. So if we take that and we go, okay, we should just not associate with these guys forever. I think one, we lose a gateway to Melee, which is bad. And two, I think we're, these are impressionable young kids who, if they have bad influences, I think we should seek to be the good influences. We should not say, oh, these kids all want 0 at tournaments. Fuck these teenagers. They're horrible people forever. I think we should take a step back and say, okay, there's clearly a dialogue that's not happening that someone needs to champion. Who's the right person to champion that conversation? How do we make it happen?
Sure. I mean, that's a great point. Without getting too much into it, because it is a sensitive subject, and also you've been so great to us. I'm trying to not to keep you too much longer. Yeah. I mean, at what point do Melee figures need to get involved with Ultimate?
I think if there's a real genuine problem, I think we should. I think it's a dialogue we need to have. I've started kind of messaging some people where I feel a little bit concerned, and I think that there are a lot of Ultimate players who want to say something and don't really know how. I think that's the same way with Melee. I think there's a lot of Melee players that want to start that dialogue and don't really know how. Lord knows I wake up some mornings and I feel like I don't know what the fuck to say, and I feel like people are expecting me to say something. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
What I want to ask you about is with you mentioned like potential solutions to this and like creating dialogue, and what I wanted to mention to you is like what kind of resources would Melee have to? You mentioned Ultimate having a fan base and having like a community of mostly kids and teenagers, but there are adults, but there are adults in the scene, like people not too far off from our age. So I guess what I'm asking is like, what kind of resources or what kind of like system could the Melee scene and like its leadership offer? And if assuming that abandoning them is or leaving dishing the community is out of the question. So like what would the next step be?
I think we do. I think a lot of the stuff that Melee had sort of a renaissance in like 2012, 2011 when Scar and Scar kind of put Melee on me out there, and there was a lot of like dialogue overnight about like, hey, we need to like stop saying certain words that are super problematic, and here's why. We need to stop having like subtly like homophobic, rhetoric or whatever. Because that's not cool, and no one cares if that's not what you really meant. Like, it's just, first of all, it's not professional. Getting even before you get to the fact that you're hurting people's feelings, and there's a real question there. So I think there's probably just no one who's championing those sorts of, no one's saying that sort of thing in Ultimate. I don't think they have a strong sense of leadership right now, because I think a lot of their most prominent community figures some of them were outed. And a lot of the rest of them, for better or for worse, don't really, like a lot of their biggest content creators just do variety content now because the game sucks online. You look at a guy like Coney. I think Coney is a wonderful guy. I talk to Coney a lot. But if you look at Coney's stream, Coney doesn't really do Ultimate content. Coney does variety. And I don't blame him. Ultimate Online is a very terrible game. It is very frustrating. I wouldn't want to be an Ultimate streamer either in 2020 or 2021. So I think the first question is, okay, let's identify who the leaders are that people will listen to. And then I think I think that they're in a place where they're willing to have some of these. Here's what I think might be happening right now. And I might be going on a limb saying this. I think that there is a sense of almost reactionism or reactionaryism because last summer, right, a lot of bad things happened in Ultimate. A lot of people got outed for being, criminals or otherwise just kind of negative influences, right, to some degree. And I think that at the time, if you looked at the dialogue, the sort of the sentiment in the community, there was a lot of like, we need to purge these sorts of people and we need to make sure that this kind of thing can never happen again. And they were very gung-ho for that sort of thing. I think since then, there's been a lot of like kind of pushback to that because things are cyclical and people will always kind of point to the most recent thing that happened and be like, well, what if or what about, right? There's a lot of whataboutism. Hey, maybe this guy that we canceled wasn't so bad. Maybe this guy we canceled was really bad, but this guy wasn't so bad. What about that? So I think they were in a state where they were very like receptive to this sort of conversation like last summer. And I think that it just so happens that a lot of the outspoken people right now are kind of in a bit of a reactionary state based on that. And I think that we just need to, one, identify who the leaders are to have the conversation, and two, just kind of open it up again and be like, hey, ultimately, because I don't really know. I got to a point where I was like, look, I don't really have the full context on all of the things that are happening. And I don't really, it's just there. I mean, there's just too much, right? There's too much information I would need to really be able to pass judgment on. But I know that for a fact, there must be people that know. And I think we just need to get in touch with those people and have them kind of start saying stuff the way that Melee and Envy people started saying stuff back in 2011, 2012. That's my thought process. And I think we err on the side of like, if anyone has any objections, let's really flesh them out. I've always been of the opinion that if someone has a problematic opinion, like if they're not literally like, you know, a horrible person that's like low key a criminal, like I would rather engage with it and prove them wrong. But I mean, again, there's so much nuance, and it's a huge question. It's a huge question. That's why it was such a huge answer. That's kind of where my head's at.
I appreciate your answer so much.
Thanks for your candidness.
Kind of put you in a hot seat right there, but
well, I've been thinking a lot about
grace and humility. You found yourself in the middle of a really great answer, so I appreciate that. We're coming to the end of the show, and I just want to say I really do appreciate you being on. I know that this was a busy day for you, and the fact that you're able to make it work and then stay so long talking to us, I really appreciate that.
Totally.
I'm not lying.
Job, so, you know.
Yeah, I'm not lying when I say this. We've been so lucky to have so many guests that I really appreciate and really look up to, and you are one of them. There's few people who, the more you get into the scene, the more you learn the backroom stuff, that you appreciate more. But you are, right there for me.
You follow the scene, dude. That's a, like that.
I feel like that was a shot at. Was that a shot at Scar? Is that what that was?
Not really.
It's a blanket shot at any commentator. No, we talked about it.
I didn't know who Fable was.
Not specifically Scar.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Because he's done so much, right? Like this is like he's so charismatic and he's done so much for the scene where it fits into his brand, right? I actually think
but that's fine. He gets the pass.
Yeah, I think you and Scar had a very like funny dynamic at SCL where he was such a charismatic commentator that he would ask you something, and because you follow the scene and you stay up to date with the players and their records and everything, you'd be able to it's a very fun evolution of your commentary duo. So it wasn't a shot at Scar, but I'm just saying it does take effort for someone to watch locals or to follow results when you could be watching Netflix or doing anything else, right? Melee's a hobby with diminishing returns, but the people who stay in it and really follow it find it rewarding. And it's nice to see that you've been in the scene for a while, so it's not easy keeping the same energy and passion for the scene. So I think that's kind of what Wheat's getting at and what I'm getting at here.
I had this moment of terror when at the beginning of the day Scar was like, okay, I know there's at least one or two people in the bracket I don't really know, so I explained to him who Ben was and all this stuff. And he's like, okay, and I for some reason I just assumed he would know who Suitsei was. I don't know why. And then Suitsei came on. He's like, all right, tell me about Suitsei. I was like, fuck Suitsei. And then I'd explain who Suitsei was. And
I've gotten many messages from Slime, and it's day of SCL or day of something, and it's who is blank? I got a message Saturday night.
Really? Slime doesn't. I'm surprised from Slime. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Slime's usually good, but I definitely got a message Saturday night that said, "Tell me who Polish is." So I appreciate any commentator that's able to be so good on the mic and still learn your stuff.
To be fair, I bet he was asking more from the point of view of, okay, I've kind of heard of this guy, but I want the Melee stats rundown on who this guy is, because there's I don't know as much about Polish as you guys do.
And he got the whole one. He got the Polish. What a guy to ask me about.
That's probably what that was.
No, I appreciate it. Dude, ask any commentator who has over 20,000 followers, just DM me. I'll tell you whoever anyone is. So if you're under 20,000, sorry, you can't ride.
So Toph, where can
you must have this many followers?
Where can everyone after this podcast follow you and follow what you're up to?
Yeah, dude, my SEO sucks, so it's always Toph BBQ, but sometimes there's an underscore and sometimes there's not. I'm Toph _BBQ on Twitter and on Venmo. So you can give me like $1 or whatever. And I'm Toph with no BBQ on YouTube and Twitch, which is actually what I care about the most. So actually just subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on Twitch because those help me out a lot. Yeah. And Golden Guardians Melee, that's right.
Yeah. Golden Guardians Melee.
Hey, we got another, it's kind of been, well, it's, yeah, we like announced it. We're putting up an episode, I think later this week we already filmed it, of Melee Jeopardy featuring, this time it's not me and Taffo, but me and the rest of the gang, the Golden Guardians gang. I think you guys might have written some of the questions for that, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true? Or was it Ambi or Wheat?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Me and Ambi, yeah, that's me and Ambi's little baby. So hopefully you guys had a good time. I cannot wait to see this footage.
It was a good episode, and I will say nothing more.
And you can check it out when it airs on the Golden Guardians Melee YouTube channel. If you're on YouTube, you can also subscribe to us over at Melee Stats for our long form content and the Melee Stats archive for this very podcast, bonus footage. We also have some sets that have been lost to history that are now on YouTube. So you can follow us there. You can follow us on Twitter at Melee Stats Pod, who were apparently putting out viral tweets about Elliot. Sorry, I wrote the one that got 2K likes. So
I met him when he was 9.
I think everyone has.
8 or 9.
Definitely, he says he's 6'2". I don't believe it, but I'm not ready for that.
He's not 6'2".
Whenever I see him at Genesis, I'm not ready for anyone who's not a 12-year-old, because that's what my memory of him is.
And what's the most important link regarding Melee Stats that you could tell the people?
Save State, obviously, is the most important link. You can watch our video on Armada versus Save State. And if you like that video enough, you can donate to us on patreon.com/Melee Stats. Some extra... Some small extras, and you of course get the wonderful perk of, we asked only Patreon questions today. You guys gave us so many good questions, and you can talk in. There's a Patreon only Discord chat. It's good stuff.
Nice. Almost certainly you meant / by the way, right?
There's some slash that is in there.
It's probably just slash. I don't think backslash is used that often, except in like Windows paths.
Well, you're the programmer, so I'm going to default to you.
Okay. Yeah, follow the Patreon. Hey, I just want to ask, I saw someone asked about Samus in your Twitch chat. What was that about? Someone said ask him about Samus.
I think it was related
about my
to...
Samus take?
Ambi wants, it is his birthday, so if you don't have to answer the question because we're at the end. Ambi wants to know about your rivalry with the one, the only YCZ.
Samus in general? Oh, just YCZ?
I think it was all kind of intertwined.
Lots of Samuses. YCZ once said, yeah, we were coworkers for a while, in fact. We sat on this, we were the first and second best players at Cruise in some order. For the longest time, YC just kept taking me to Game 5 last talk, and he couldn't beat me. The first turn he said he took over me was very recently. It was a net play tournament. Yes, one of those. And but for some reason, and we played a lot, right? Because the Foundry and just over the years WNF, and it's always they're always great sets. But for some reason, he kept choking him out, which was always weird to me because I was like, dude, I feel like Fox, you know what I mean? You think that I'm gonna run into a fucking forward smash or some shit eventually, right? But for some reason, obviously he's a great player, and he took a set off me recently online, and. But it was just funny because we used to, we're good buddies. We go back a long way. And YC once said to me, because when I first started playing in NorCal a lot, I was playing with Daryl a lot because Daryl lived in San Jose. And he once said to me, I'm way more afraid of people who played Daryl than Daryl. YC said, there's basically people that used to play Daryl suck. It sucks playing people who used to play Daryl. Because think about Daryl, because YC's a very tricky Samus, a lot of weird tech skill and stuff, but Daryl was that. And Daryl was really good at that. So I think for a lot of people, they play YC and it's whoa, this is fucking weird. But I think everyone who played Daryl from NorCal is kind of well, we've kind of seen this before. It's not the weirdest, So, but YC, wonderful player.
Melee Stats number 1, I might add.
Weird that he's Melee Stats number 1, sure. He's definitely carrying the torch for Samus right now.
We'll have to see first major back. We got to see a Toph versus YCZ exhibition.
Sure, I thought you were going to say YCZ versus Kata.
No, I don't care about
Kata that. Kata looks. Hey, yeah, I got to shout out Kata. He looks good. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Kata as well.
I like Kata.
But I guess you're right. Samus did
not going to watch a Samus exhibition.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. whatever.
We'll figure something out.
We'll
make Toph run through the same.
I'll play both of them. Yeah, and then I'll play like Hugs or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Play Chillin' Dude Samus.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go. You've been such a good sport, and I appreciate you coming on.
It's been really fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun episode.
Yeah. Oh, great episode. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to tune in next week because we're going to talk all things SCL. We're going to know about Summit. Dude, next week is going to be such a banger of a tournament with SCL Week 4, and I can't wait to talk about it. So I'll see you guys all then.
It's going to be great. Peace out.
Peace.